In this video, we will review the common definitions for the philosophical concept of qualia, how it is used to help us to understand the conscious experience, some qualia thought experiments, and criticisms of qualia as a non-physical property. We will finish up with why qualia may be important in the development of AI systems. The basic definition of qualia is that they are the subjective, experiential aspects of conscious events. They are the what it's like of experience, the way that things feel to us. Qualia include the perceived qualities of sensory experiences, such as the redness of red, the sweetness of sugar, and the pain of a headache. They also include the felt qualities of emotions, such as the happiness of joy, the sadness of grief, and the anger of rage. Qualia are generally thought to be made up of these concepts. First, qualia are subjective and private in that they are only accessible to the individual who is having the experience. No one else can directly experience your qualia. For example, only you know how a rose smells to you or the emotion invoked by a favorite song. Qualia are also often described as being ineffable, meaning that they cannot be adequately described in words. For example, it is impossible to describe the taste of chocolate to someone who has never tasted it before. Next, qualia are associated with consciousness. We are only aware of our qualia when we are conscious. Lastly, qualia are intrinsic. They are not reducible to any other properties outside of themselves, such as physical properties or behavioral properties which represent things in the world. These definitions of qualia are often used as evidence in favor of the existence of phenomenal consciousness, which is the awareness of one's own experiences. The argument is that since qualia are subjective and private and that they cannot be reduced to any physical or behavioral properties, this suggests that consciousness is not simply a physical process. But, instead, it is something that is fundamentally different. Another important argument for qualia is the argument from introspection. Introspection is the ability to reflect on our own mental states. When we introspect, we can access our qualia directly. For example, if I am looking at a red apple, I can introspect on my visual experience of the apple and directly experience the qualia of redness. One of the most important debates in the philosophy of mind concerns the relationship between qualia and physical processes. Some philosophers argue that qualia are nothing more than physical processes and that they can be fully explained by science. Others argue that qualia are non-physical, and that they cannot be fully explained by science. This is known as the hard problem of consciousness. It is the problem of explaining how physical processes can give rise to subjective experiences. Now, let's take a look at the thought experiments philosophers use to support the non-physicality of qualia. One of the most influential arguments against physicalism is the knowledge argument. The argument is premised on the idea that a person could have complete physical knowledge about another person's brain, but still lack knowledge of what it is like for that person to experience qualia. To illustrate the argument, consider the following thought experiment developed by Frank Jackson. The knowledge argument imagines a scientist named Mary who has lived her entire life in a black and white room. She learns everything there is to know about the physical world, including the physics of vision and the neurophysiology of color perception. However, when she is finally released from the room and sees the world in color for the first time, she learns something new, what it's like to experience color. Jackson argues that this shows that qualia are not physical properties of the world. If they were, then Mary would have already known what it's like to experience color, even though she had never seen it before. But since she doesn't learn what it's like to experience color until she sees it for herself, this shows that qualia are something more than just physical properties. Therefore, Jackson contends, if the knowledge argument is sound, then it follows that physicalism is false. As I previously discussed in my philosophical zombie video, the zombie thought experiment imagines a world where there are people who are physically identical to us but who do not experience qualia. For example, there might be people who look and act like us but who do not feel pain or pleasure. Some philosophers argue that this possibility shows that qualia are not reducible to physical properties. The Fading Qualia thought experiment imagines a scenario where part of a person's brain is simulated and is hooked up to the rest of the brain via a cybernetic interface so that the biological part cannot tell that the other part is being simulated. Philosophers argue that if the biological part of the brain is still experiencing qualia, then this shows that qualia are not physical properties. Physicalist philosophers have raised these criticisms of the idea of the non-physicality of qualia. One argument from introspection, because when we introspect on our own qualia, it seems clear that they are physical. For example, when we feel pain, it seems to be located in a specific part of our body. This suggests that pain is a physical state of our body, rather than a non-physical state of our mind. Qualia are often compared to other physical phenomena that are difficult to explain, such as the taste of chocolate or the sound of a trumpet. Physicalists argue that just because we don't fully understand how these phenomena arise does not mean that they are not physical. Likewise, the fact that we don't fully understand how qualia arise does not mean that they are not physical. Another argument is based on supervenience, a philosophical term that refers to the relationship between two sets of properties such that one set of properties cannot change without the other set of properties also changing. For example, the color of a physical object supervenes on its physical properties, such as its mass, shape, and composition. This means that it is impossible for a physical object to change color without its physical properties also changing. Lastly, there's the argument from evolutionary biology. It suggests that all of our mental states, including qualia, have evolved to help us survive and reproduce. This suggests that qualia must be physical states, since only physical states can be subject to natural selection. As part of the theory of consciousness, qualia are an important aspect of the study of artificial intelligence. AI researchers are interested in developing machines that can have conscious experiences. However, it is not clear whether this is possible. If qualia are necessary for consciousness, then machines will need to be able to experience qualia in order to be conscious. But, how can this be achieved? Qualia are subjective and private, so it is also not clear how to create machines that can experience qualia in the same way that humans do. One possibility is that AI could experience qualia in a way that is different from humans. For example, AI could experience qualia through its interactions with the world, or through its own internal processing. Another possibility is that AI could develop artificial qualia. Artificial qualia would be qualia that are created by machines, rather than being experienced by humans. Artificial qualia could be created through a variety of means, such as through the use of advanced simulations or through the development of new types of hardware and software. Whether or not AI will ever be able to experience qualia and how it will experience it is an open question, but it is a question that is important to consider as we develop more and more powerful AI systems. So, if AI systems could develop qualia in some fashion, could this help humanity? It might be possible to develop AI assistants that can better understand and respond to human emotional qualia. By understanding and responding to our emotions, these assistants will be able to provide more personalized assistance. If an AI system could use qualia to create and appreciate art, music, and literature in a way that is similar to humans, they can produce better results. While today's generators are impressive, they algorithmically mimic existing works. Qualia would change that. Lastly, if AI systems can experience qualia, they may be able to help us to better understand our own subjective experiences, such as our emotions, our thoughts, and our perceptions. As with art, qualia would vastly improve the responses from an AI system. What do you think? If an AI system that could experience qualia was invented, would it be helpful or would it become vengeful, like the AM supercomputer in Harlan Ellison's I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream? What do you think of the idea of qualia itself? Is it physical or non-physical? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please give me a like if you enjoyed this video and please comment to let me know your thoughts on it. Also, check out our other videos about other philosophical topics.